Thank you very much. Honestly, I have no clue what I'm doing here because I just go to, I don't do anything significant, I go to a cricket match, I tell stories and I come back home. I don't save lives, I don't help lives come into this world. The only deliveries that I know of are cruel, wicked things that do strange things in the air and off the pitch. So, I've always, since I was very young, been in awe of surgeons. And I thought they are the people who do socially significant things. We just go and, as someone said, maybe bring a smile to people, but not beyond that. So I've always been aware that what I do is a very small part of the world. We don't change lives, for example, you do. So I'm feeling a bit awkward in the presence of people who do far, far more significant things than either I have ever done or I will ever do. But it's good to see gynecologists and obstetricians having fun. What I saw right at the beginning was so much fun, and great that Dr. Shanta Kumari talked about women. I come from a family of very, very strong women, and so always grew up putting women on a pedestal, and I always benefited from being surrounded by very, very strong women, whether it was my grandmother or my mother or my wife or my mother-in-law. They did wonderful things with what they had, and so I've always looked up to women, and I'm overjoyed to see so many women doctors here. This interesting little get together almost, which happened when I was in management school. In management school, we always talked about the academics versus the practitioners. And it's almost as if the academics said, they are commercial guys. And the practitioners said, wo to class mein padhate hain. And so there was always this conflict between the academic and the practitioner in management school when I went. Now we are seeing the conflict between the people who measure and the people who have played. The people who have played said, this is how it should be. The people who are measuring said, no, but our numbers are telling us something else. And technology is moving to an extent where decision making is now happening through machines. And I wonder if that happens in your profession. Is the machine becoming the doctor? Or is the doctor still the doctor and the machine is just the tool to enable the doctor? Data analytics in my sport is at a state where it might start taking over the sport, and we have to then say, okay, does the analytics take over the sport, or does someone sift through the analytics and say, how does that help me take a decision? So we are in this very interesting evolutionary stage in our sport, because all along we didn't have the tools to measure. And it's happening more and more in T20 cricket, not in test match cricket, because there are far too many variables in test match cricket. T20 is a little more homogenized, and so you can measure a lot better. So that's something that is happening a lot. Earlier we used to have hypothesis and instinct. And we used to measure people by instinct. We used to judge how good people were by instinct, and we formed hypotheses about people, but we never had to measure people, because what we measured was a very tiny part of the game. Now we are measuring so much more that what we are measuring is taking over the hypothesis. Very often it is contradicting long-held hypotheses. And I don't know if that's happening in the medical profession as well, that the numbers are telling us, the numbers are challenging what we thought was the truth. So that is something very interesting that's happening. The other thing that happens, because the world is changing so much, a lot of us who've been around for 25, 30, 35 years, we all go into cruise mode after a while. Because when you've been around for 30 years, you've seen every situation that is possible to be seen in the game, or so we believe. The game makes a fool out of you very, very often. Every day something new comes up, but you think, yeah, I've been around for a while, I know. And as the game changes, it tells you, no, you don't. I don't know if that happens across professions, that after a while you think, I know it all, I've been around for so long, I know it all. And something happens that tells you, actually the world is changing, you don't. And so for my generation, luckily a lot of people here are a lot younger than I am, but for a lot of people of my generation, staying relevant is the key. We have to fight very hard to stay relevant because we belong in somebody else's world. They don't belong in our world anymore. Once you go past a certain age, you move out of a certain part of the world. That world is now somebody else's. But we have to stay relevant to be able to belong to their world. I'll just give a little example. Suppose someone plays a great shot. My first instinct was to say, oh, the sound came off his bat like Pandit Ravi Shankar would have played a sitar. My audience is saying, Uncle, we follow BTS. BTS is this Korean pop group that I read about. I know nothing about them. Can I talk about Game of Thrones? Until I discover that, hang on, by the time I get to know what Game of Thrones is, it is past tense, you know. So